Hey everyone! Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you want more updates on the world of football. When it comes to analyzing football matches, it's tempting to think of games as consistent periods of time. You might view them as 90 minutes blocks per 90, as the data analysts like to term it. Or even 2 blocks of 45 minutes each divided by half time. In reality, though, across the 90-plus minutes a game will ebb and flow. One team can find a momentum for a short period, another might be forced back for a time. There might be any number of shifts. But it's important to realize that this flow is not completely arbitrary. In some cases, the coach of a team will instruct them to play differently at different points in the game. They may come out attacking aggressively in the first part of a half, or decide to press high for a specific period of time. This raises the question: how do football teams manage games? One of the most impressive aspects of Arsenal's push for the Premier League title this season has been the way they've been able to score goals early while stopping their opponents from scoring. If you separate Arsenal's goals for and against into the 15 minutes periods where they are scored or conceded, an interesting phenomenon appears when it comes to scoring goals. Arsenal are fairly consistent in offering a goal threat, regardless of what period of game they're in. They've scored around 6 or 7 goals in each so far in their Premier League campaign. Interestingly, they do tend to be much more dangerous just after half-time in the 45 to 60 minutes period. But as a rule, Arsenal are producing goals evenly across the 90 minutes. It's a completely different story when it comes to goals conceded by Arsenal, though so far they haven't conceded a Premier League goal inside the first 50 minutes of a game. And their goals conceded gradually increase across the game until the last 15 minutes, where it suddenly drops off to a single goal conceded in that period. What does this tell us about how Arsenal play? Well, primarily it tells us something about how Mikel Arteta feels about game state. And what do we mean by that? Well, game state is any factor in a game that might impact the way that a team plays. A red card is a really good example. If a team goes down to 10 men, it will alter the way they play. They will almost certainly move their focus to stopping the opposition from scoring rather than scoring themselves. This also means that it's extremely likely that their opponents will dominate the ball. Goals also function as a factor on game state. A team who are winning will usually take fewer risks than a team losing. The more goals you are losing by, the more risks you will take. It seems that Mikel Arteta is aware of the impact of goals on game state. So far this season, Arsenal scored the first goal in 14 of their 19 games. This means that in over 70% of their games, they're able to enter a game state which allows them to take fewer risks. Of course, scoring first could just be down to luck, but when you look back at the time periods where Arsenal are scoring conceding, it becomes clear that Arteta is encouraging his team to play differently in different periods of the game. This manifests in different ways. Clearly, Arteta encourages his players to be more aggressive going forward in the first period after half-time, resulting in 13 goals being scored in that period. But the intensity with which Arsenal plays shows up more obviously in their goals conceded numbers. Given that their likelihood of conceding seems to increase as the game progresses, it suggests that the intensity of Arsenal's out-of-possession play decreases as the game goes on. No doubt the idea is that Arsenal defend with intensity until the point where they're a goal up, at which point they can reduce the intensity of their pressing and sit on their lead. Interestingly, the drop-off for goals conceded in the last 15 minutes correlates with a tendency for Arteta to switch to a back three late on in games and have his team sit a little deeper. By approaching the game in this way, then Arsenal are able to reduce their intensity through the game in such a way that they can manage their players' fitness through matches. If they front-load the intensity, they can attempt to enter a positive game state as early as possible and then save themselves later in the game. This ebbing and flowing of games may be decided on the fly, but more often than not that we plan in advance. It could be the case that a manager decides to press high for the first period and a half, or be more conservative going forward for the first 20 minutes of a tougher away game. So the next time you're watching a football match, see if you can notice in-game shifts of intensity in attacking or defending. It may feel random, but it's almost certainly planned. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel.